So maybe it will be helpful if we start with just that overarching question. Maybe it's not the one that you're thinking of, but the question of, but why? Why is it so wrong to not save the child? So we're going to talk about here Singer's principle. And what Singer is going to try to do is answer that question. So Singer says, and we're going to call this again the principle, Singer's principle. Singer says, or he seems to be suggesting, that if we can prevent something bad from happening without sacrificing anything of comparable moral importance, then we ought to do so. So, in the shallow pond story, since a pair of pants is not of comparable moral importance to the life of a child, then you ought to sacrifice it in order to prevent the death of the child, right? I mean, but if we take this and we continue to move this principle further, we recognize that it actually entails a lot more than just giving up our pants, right? Because we all can prevent something very bad from happening, namely the deaths of starving children around the world, without significant sacrifice. Again, roughly $200 donation is enough to save a life. Therefore, according to Singer's principle, we should or we ought to do that. Now, I know $200 can seem like a lot of money, especially for college students. And so the point is not that $200 isn't a lot of money or is a lot of money, but that if we were to value life, that we would say that $200 and life are not comparable in moral importance. So, with Singer's principle in mind, we can recraft our initial argument to argue something like this. Premise number one is Singer's principle. If we can prevent something very bad from happening without sacrificing anything of comparable moral importance, then we ought to do so. Premise number two says, we can prevent something very bad, namely death due to starvation and poverty-related causes, without sacrificing anything of comparable comparable moral importance. Therefore, we ought to donate to famine relief. All right, let's look at some objections in this next video.